Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Shannon Brown. Welcome to Marketing Your Business for Growth. So the following is what I hope you will gain today with the key learning objectives. That's becoming familiar with goal setting to achieve success, understanding the value you create for your target market or target markets, identifying and evaluating ways you can connect with your customers, and creating ways to position rather than sell your business. So I'd like you to ponder this as we go through the webinar today. Would you hire your company? Hopefully by the end of this webinar, you'll have some takeaway tools to arm your business for growth and to be able to answer why someone should hire you and your company. All right, we're going to kick off with goals for growth and talk about the importance of goal setting for performance. So you may have goals outlined in your head or your heart. I say heart because we're all passionate running our businesses. But we really need to make sure to make them tangible and document your goals. So how are we going to do that? And why should we do it? So we'll get into the next few slides and talk about that. But goal setting is really important for performance, and it creates paths for disciplined focus. It helps provide forecasting for you to see what resources or processes or priorities you need or should make. And it establishes expectations for your performance and holds you to accountability. So how do you create a goal-focused mindset? So we're going to talk a little bit about being in the moment and monitoring distractions. So clear your mind of distractions to be present, to be in the moment. I know you're thinking, that sounds difficult. That sounds like I'm sitting in a yoga class. But it's really important to identify what distracts you throughout the day and what motivates you. You can use this to your advantage. And distractions for you, I would imagine, like myself, are tasks, administrative tasks or different types of tasks weighing you down that's causing you to be unmotivated. And if you do have a team in place, look at what those distractions are, what those tasks are, and see how you can pass those on to a staff member. Create some daily, weekly, or monthly rituals that work for you to help you stay on track with goals. As you move along with your goal journey, look to mentors, look to team members, to clients for feedback to keep you on track. So let's talk about the process of discovery. You'll never be able to generate new business or grow your business if you are like the donut commercial. I don't know if any of you have seen this. I believe it might be a spoof off of Dunkin' Donuts, but it's the gentleman that repeats and repeats and repeats every day, time to make the donuts. If you don't know about this commercial that I'm referring to, basically it's a repetitiveness every day where the baker walks in to the bakery at the same time every day mumbling, it's time to make the donuts. He has lacking initiative. He looks like he's just burnt out. Lacking that enthusiasm and just going through the motions. And that can happen when you have a lot of distractions. So make sure to have a process of discovery. 3 things to consider are, when was the last time you did something new for the first time? What did you discover about yourself accomplishing this? And what are additional things you can do with this newfound knowledge? So let's talk about goals versus objectives. Once you outline some goals, you need to add some objectives. So here you can see on this slide, we outline some goals, and then we outline some objectives attached to that. This chart can really help you determine, looking at your goals versus your objectives. And again, I really recommend that you take this PowerPoint when you download it. You can actually use this to build out your goals and objectives, and this will help you answer questions as you go, so you can build out a strong goals, and there also is marketing to this. So I really think you'll have a nice plan in place if you use this template. So you may be wondering what BAG is. It's a big, hairy, audacious goal. And in my opinion, everyone needs a BAG. So conceptualize it. The first step is taking the time to think through and conceptualizing a goal you can aim towards that will change your business and or your life. Let go of constraints and let your imagination take charge. Your BAG should be overly ambitious and seem unattainable. So I have some criteria to outline for you on what for a BAG to keep in mind. So it can be a minimum of up to a 10-year plan. It should be action-oriented. innovative, compelling, and exciting? This is probably the most difficult part of creating a bag, but it can take a long time, weeks, months, even years. As a business owner myself, I know I always like to look at low-hanging fruit for goals, but it's really important to look at those long-term goals. Next, test it. Now that you have your bag in mind, run it through a feasibility check to gauge if it's a bag and really one of those that you can dedicate, or ask yourself some questions that you may want to consider from a long-term perspective. Is it something people will understand if you share it? Will it require you to stretch yourself out of your comfort zone? Is it measurable and life-changing? Does it create momentum? Does it excite and stimulate you? These are all key things to keep that business growth going, because in return, this passion is really going to drive your motivation. And then the hardest part is you need to commit to it. So just like you do with any goal, you'll need to commit to your bag and start forward progress immediately. You can break it down into smaller, measurable chunks or mini goals if that helps. And make sure you check in on your progress regularly. I suggest looking at that on a monthly basis. So I know 10 years seems like an awfully long time, but if you've created a powerful bag, a decade is probably an aggressive timeline. Personally, I kind of like the long time frame. Think about how busy you are. Having a goal that you don't anticipate achieving until way in the future gives you time to create a solid plan and approach it methodically. And you'll need that time if your bag is truly one of the unattainable. So I wanted to share this book, MOJO. So MOJO is the moment when we do something that's purposeful, powerful, and positive, and the rest of the world recognizes it. This book is about that moment and how we can create it in our lives, maintain it, and recapture it when we need it. This is a good read, and I even recommend sharing it with your team members. And I did check the other night. It's still on Amazon. All right, so tapping into your mojo. Again, this is a great slide to copy and paste into a plan that you're creating so that you can answer these questions, because not everyone has the same way to achieve this. So if you need a little help tapping into your mojo, follow these items listed on the left and see how you can answer them on the right. All right, this is an example of a SMART goal. And I believe the SMART goal worksheet is also available for you. It might have been emailed to you prior to the webinar presentation. So you're going to want to pay attention to the SMART goal worksheet. But I'm going to get into a few things about what a SMART goal is. All right, here's an example of a SMART goal. We chose a SMART goal to be contract ready. I can't think of anybody that doesn't want to be contract ready, can you? So to be successful with your goals, you need to get them out of your head, out of your heart, and make them tangible, which will make you accountable and keep you on track. So my recommendation, here's an example, we put become contract ready. So what do you need to do that? So be prepared to pursue opportunities in the amount of $250,000 by the beginning of 2017 through delivering high quality services. Now keep in mind, yours isn't going to be this exact terminology here, but we're just providing this to you to help you get on your way. Who will be involved? What's your team look like? Certificates, insurance, bonding, the eligibility for working up to $1 million by the end of third quarter in 2017. And then the last is what objectives need to be created. So we'll host an internal meeting on the second to the last Friday of October to establish our market business development goals for 2017. So you can see how that one's more specific. So now I want to talk a little bit about marketing and the role that it plays in the success of your business. I know many of you might be thinking, if you're running your business, I noticed that there's a variety of industries that signed up today, and many business owners or higher level management that at the end of the day, you're trying to run your business, generate the business, and you don't have time for marketing. So what we'd like to do is give you some tips today to take away to help you build that plan out. So to quickly recap, you'll have your goals, your objectives, don't forget your mojo, and now we'll talk about outlining your marketing. Here's the quote from Peter Drucker we threw in here. The aim of marketing is to know and understand the customer so well that the product or service fits him and sells itself. Ideally, marketing should result in a customer who is ready to buy. All that should be needed is to make the product or service available. All right, here's the marketing universe. I know it can be a little daunting, especially when you don't specialize in marketing. So I'm going to try to simplify it for you just a little bit so you don't lose your mojo. All right, the definition of marketing is the factor or consideration presented by a seller as the reason that one product or service is different from and better than that of the competition. So before you can begin to sell your product or service to anyone else, you have to sell yourself on it. This is especially important when your product or service is similar to those around you. Very few businesses are one of a kind. Look at yourself as a consumer. As a consumer, how many clothing retailers, hardware stores, air conditioning installers, electricians can you choose from and that are truly unique? So you have to put yourself into that position as well. So here's how you can uncover your USP. That's your unique selling proposition. And use it to power up your sales. So again, put yourself in your customer's shoes. Know what motivates your customers' behavior and buying decision, and uncover the real reason customers buy your product instead of a competitor's. So this is the 4 P's of marketing. I'm going to go through each one of these, talk a little bit about them. Again, I know I'm sounding like a broken record, but I'd recommend that you copy and paste this into a working document right after goals in your MOJO motivation and start listing out your categories for the 4 P's of marketing. So the first one is product and service. So what does a customer want from your product or service? What does it need for satisfaction? What features does it have to meet those needs? Are there any features you've missed? Are you including costly features that the customer won't actually use? How and where will the customer use it? What does it look like? How will customers experience it? What's it to be called? How is it to be branded? What are the differentiating factors versus your competitors? And what is the most it can cost to provide and still be sold sufficiently and profitable for you? So those are things to consider when you're outlining your product or service. Next is place. Where do buyers look for your product or service? How can you access the right distribution channels? Do you need a sales force? Do you need to attend trade shows? Do you need to be online or make online submissions? Do you need to send samples to a potential company to try to get the business? Know what your competitors do. What are your competitors doing, and how can you learn from that to differentiate yourself? Next is price. What is the value of product or service to the buyer? Are there established price points for products or services in your field? Now, a lot of times, I'm sure all of you have bid or are wanting to bid on government contracts, and pricing can be a huge factor. So is the customer price sensitive? Will a small decrease in price gain you an extra market share, or will a small increase be indiscernible and so you can't gain any extra profit in your profit margin? Should you have discounts? Should you offer those to trade customers or to other specific segments of your market? And how will your price compare with your competition? So these are all things to think about when you're outlining the 4 P's of marketing under price. Promotion. Where and when can you get across your marketing message to your target market? Do you need to do cold calling, email marketing, go to networking events, direct mail? When is the best time for you to promote? As it relates to government contracts, I always say way before an RFP, request for proposal, is even released. People need to know who you are before they ask you to join them on a bid to be a sub, or if you're going to be a prime, the planners making those decisions with those RFPs need to know who you are and your qualifications. And then how do your competitors do their promotions? And how does that influence your choice of promotional activity? So those are the traditional 4 P's of marketing. I want to talk about the 3 new P's of marketing, which is promise, pinpointing, and positioning. These are really important with any client, but especially with government contracts. If you are a prime, directly to the contracts team, or if you're a sub, it's important for the prime and the contracts team that you carry these 3 P's of marketing. All right, this is my opinion, but this is how you beat the competition. It's your value proposition. A promise of value to be delivered and a belief from the customer that the value will be experienced. What creates value? Are you familiar with any of these brands? Zappos, Apple, IKEA? They create value over and over again. So consistency of service and performance creates value. Pricing creates value. Expectations exceeded is a huge one. That creates great value. And a memorable identity. Pinpointing. Pinpointing is key for government contracts. There are hundreds of contracts out there that span across dozens of industries. So don't spin your wheels and waste time on areas that won't benefit you. Find that low-hanging fruit and build from there. So identify total market, divide those into market segments, choose the most promising segments, and serve and satisfy those segments the best you can. And knowing your target market. Let's talk about that for a little bit. So I really want to stress this slide. I know most of you are in the service industry based on the sheet that I received. And some of this is more for, consumers. But I think these are general target market considerations for any potential consumer for you to consider. So you'll need to modify it based on the products and services you offer. But if you can identify your basis of your target market, this will help you pinpoint the best growth area for your business so you can focus, stay on track with your goals, and start generating more business. All right, this is just a little slide to show being proactive. So it's better to be proactive on voice of your customers versus reactive. So you're on the left, smiley face, proactive, before they start shouting at you to be reactive. All right, building trust. So building trust is really important, obviously, with client retention. Always serve first, sell second. Watch for your signs of unhappy customers, and reward your loyal customers. So I just want to really stress bullet 2 for watch the signs of unhappy customers, especially as it relates to government contracts. To build that trust, you should have in place a monthly progress report, an opportunity to have open dialogue with your with the person you have a contract with, just to make sure you're on the same page, that you can touch base, make sure you're achieving milestones, and it'll give the person that you're doing business with a good realization that you're staying on top of it, and you care, and you really want to make sure that everything's running smoothly. If you wait till the end of a project to try to get that type of feedback, there could be things along the way that you weren't even aware of. And if you don't have those check-in points, you won't be aware of it. And I think it just takes away from the opportunity to build that trust and a true partnership. This is just another quote we threw in here from John Maxwell. The first time you say something, it's heard. The second time, it's recognized. And the third time, it's learned. All right, we're going to talk a little bit about global positioning strategy. And you may say, I don't want to be global, I want to be local. This all can still apply. So global strategy is a process of expanding and competing in a globalized market. Even if you don't plan to go global, it's really good exercise to help you position your company as a whole, regardless if you remain local, regional, national, or you do go international. So here you have on the left for identification, it's finding your fit. Awareness, aware of the new products that lack information. Interest, the motivation to seek information. Evaluation, whether or not to buy or try. Trial, tries new product on a small scale. Adoption, decides to use product on a regular basis. So this is what the customer experiences. That's their experience, what they're going through on the right. So for you on positioning, you want to identify and be able to answer these questions based on your product or service and what that experience is going to be. Tools for success. This slide outlines marketing tools for success, and there are some key tools that should be pre-produced and easily accessible. So sometimes it may be necessary to customize or expand your materials depending on who you're selling to, but having the core of your materials ready will streamline your efforts when pitching new business. What I would recommend is building out a statement of qualifications and sales sheet to align with your target markets. You should have a portfolio housed electronically for each of these markets. So consider it your your marketing library so that you have outlined the benefits and value of your products or services, the description of how you position your products and services, key points that indicate that you have listened to others, partners, made modifications, and then most importantly, your statement of qualifications, your sales sheets. Now, understand you might have general materials for the different scopes that you offer. You might have one big umbrella outlining everything that you do. But know that you will have to customize, especially when you're creating your proposals and creating those pitches and going out to present, that kind of a one-size-fits-all is not going to work. So make sure you have make them customizable for you so that it speaks to the audience that you're talking to. Here's another quote from Colin Powell. There are no secrets to success. It's a result of preparation, hard work, and learning from failure. All right, so that is the outline of the webinar